Hey guys, Ep.2 here from Ep.2 Gaming, and I'm back. I am back, and we're back with episode 2 of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, the Online Warrior. Sorry guys for the long hiatus. Normally I try to drop these. I know this is my second video, but I always try to not put too much bigger gap between my videos, but I'm back. I had the holidays was kind of crazy, but I'm back. And we're going to talk about this current topic right now. As you see on my thumbnail, does roster size really matter? Or does the size matter? I don't mean it for it to be a sexual pun, but that's how it comes off as. But does roster size really matter? Yes and no. And I'll tell you this why. Because if the quality, not the quantity, the quality of the roster, the way the characters look, feel, play are great, it can make up for the fact that the roster is not that big, because you can tell they put a lot of hard work into the characters. And the reason why I'm bringing up this topic is because the recent rumblings about the recent fighting game release of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite launching with 30 characters. A lot of people complain about the roster size, said, hey, it's not NBC 3 that launched with about, I think, 36 to 38, I'm not entirely sure. They relaunched with that amount of people. And now with Dragon Ball FighterZ on the horizon, it's only launching with 23 characters, and a lot of people are not too impressed by that, because it's not the big roster they hoped for. It's like comparing it to Xenoverse, which has a crazy amount of characters. But my thing about it is, if the quality of the roster is good, it should make up for the fact the numbers are abysmal. And now I'm about to pull a little history lesson. Street Fighter 2 Turbo, the console version of Street Fighter, because Street Fighter 2 was in the arcades. I didn't play the arcade version. I played the console version on my Sega Genesis. That game had 8 characters. When I say 8, it really only had 8 people. Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, Guile, Dhalsim, Blanca, E Honda. I'll have to remember the rest, but it launched with those people. And when I tell you that roster size was abysmal, at least to today's standards it was, but when I was a kid it didn't really matter because it was fun. I mean, besides Ken and Ryu, everybody was unique. Everybody was unique. To the point where it didn't really matter at the time about the roster size, because every character had their unique things. Like, for example, Ryu and Ken were the traditional Shotokan characters with the like downright fierce and all that stuff, while Guile was a charged character, which was foreign at the time. Like, charged characters were foreign at the time. I didn't know what a charged character was, so I couldn't really play Guile until I had to know, like, oh, you have to hold back 3 seconds and then press forward quickly. Then with light punch, you do a flash, a sonic boom. That was unique to me, and the quality of that roster made up for its abysmal size. It really did. And then, unlike today, now there was no such thing as DLC back in the day. So when that game came out like that, you were stuck with 8 characters. And it wasn't until new challenges came out where they added 4 more characters, the 4 boss characters, Sagat, Bison, Balrog, and Vega. And that's when they really started expanding upon the roster. Now fast forward to today with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was hit with a lot of problems, but the biggest thing that supposedly didn't help its cause was its roster size, because it launched with 30. And I'm telling you, this is just my opinion. 30 characters at launch for a 2v2 game is impressive. That means you have, like, at least going by Marvel vs. Capcom standard, you have 15 on the Marvel, 15 on Capcom. That was actually really impressive for a 2v2 game, because Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and a lot of the older versus games didn't have no more than maybe 16 characters. You had to find some secret characters, but in the initial roster it was 30, which is impressive. But even though comparing to its predecessor, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which launched with I think about 36 characters, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite's roster was kind of abysmal. But you have to put into effect that Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was a 3v3 fighter, so technically more characters. It's the opposite because you have more varieties, more combination. But if you kind of look at it, and if you look at it for both sides, it's only 3 more characters on each side, because that means 18 on both sides. And then you had Jill and Schumer, who were DLC, so that would made the roster about 38. But my thing about it is, no matter how you look at it, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite roster is not that bad. I actually love Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I know I'm gonna get flack for this, but I actually heart the game. Like, it's fun. The way it plays, the way every character feels different. Now there are some gripes for certain characters I have, like Dormammu, Dante, and all of them. But and I know I use Dante, not anymore. I dropped it for Sigma, because I mean Sigma's my boy. But the quality of the roster and the way it plays made up for the fact, in my opinion, about the abysmal roster size, which, at least to everybody else's standards, in my opinion, it's okay. 30 characters, that's still more than enough for me to pick from. And then it really helped the fact that they had 6 DLC characters, which were Venom, Black Widow, Winter Soldier, Black Panther, Sigma, and Monster Hunter. And those characters alone are stupid fun to play with, especially Venom and my boy Sigma, aka Sneakma. Like they are really fun to play with. And that size, even though that scale of DLC is not that big, but the hard work they put into it, like, each character feels different. The roster quality made up for the fact, at least to my thing and to some other people's opinion, like my friends too, my boys, Red Ranger Power, Phoenix _23 negative, it's like the roster quality made up for the fact that it didn't have a lot of people on it. And then now going to Dragon Ball FighterZ, which was the game that was hyped up when its first initial announcement. Everybody was hyped, including me, because good God Almighty, a Dragon Ball Z game that plays like a traditional fighter. We haven't seen that really since Super Dragon Ball Z, but I didn't really play that. But it's like, this is the first time I really got hyped for a game, besides a Dragon Ball game, besides the original Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. And I didn't even see the announcement for that game. I actually played it at a friend's house during the sleepover, and I was hyped to play more of that game because it was fun. Dragon Ball FighterZ was hyped up to be, after the whole problems with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, a lot of people don't shift and went to Dragon Ball. And this is the game that could do no wrong. It had a great quality. Like, I ain't gonna lie, Arc Systems does great work. Like, the way they make their stuff, and like their animation, and the way the games feel, and the way, especially Dragon Ball's presentation with a lot of the, like, all the cinematical finishes, like, they really tell that they really love Dragon Ball as a show. But when finally the final 3 characters were revealed for the initial roster, which was Rose Black, I can't wait to play as him, my boy Hit, and Beerus, the final roster totaled up to about 23 characters. And man, when I say that, a lot of people are kind of mad at the roster size isn't that big. A lot of people are mad. But when you look at the roster quality, everybody's unique. I mean, this game got me wanting to play Yamcha. when I tell you this game also got me to play Yamcha. Yamcha I never played with. Never. The only minor character that I will play with in the Dragon Ball franchise was Tien, because the Budokai games made Tien a beast. Like, I mean, I could whoop anybody with Tien, but when they got me playing Yamcha, it's like the roster size doesn't really matter, because Arc Systems put a lot of work in those characters, and to animate those characters in that style is not easy, and it's not cheap at all. So they have to do it like that. And a lot of these people that jump to Dragon Ball doesn't know that Arc Systems rosters are really small. They have never been big. I have never seen an Arc Systems roster downright big in initial release. And going into more recent games like BlazBlue. BlazBlue was a full price game, a full price PS3 game that only had 12 characters. 12 characters. And you had to pay $64 for that. And I think you may have got 1 or 2 DLC characters. And then maybe 1 boss character. But even then, in Continuum Shift, it was a $40 upgrade and it only had 4 characters. Like, and some people tend to forget that even the latest Guilty Gear, not Revelator 2, the first one, Exard, only has 16 characters. So for them to jump from 16 to 23 is quite impressive, especially for the Dragon Ball platform. Because the thing about it is, this is not like Xenoverse. This is not like it's meant for the casuals. This game is more so for like the hardcore anime fighting game community. Like to put more characters disrupt the balance of the game. And my thing about it is that Dragon Ball really, where its roster size may not be that impressive, it makes up for the fact that every character is unique. Like, when I tell you once again, they got me wanting to play Yamcha. In a similar sense, I want to play 16 too. I never cared about 16 ever in any game. Never. But the way he plays in this game, a straight up Zangief type character, where he's just straight up like, rah, like just doing all these mid-air throws, he reminds me of Alex. And this is why, and it's like with that, it's getting me real interested to play this game. Even though its roster size is not impressive. And for what I'm telling you guys is that no matter how much the size is or about the roster, it'll get bigger over time. You have to give it time. And if the quality of the roster was going back again, if every character plays unique and every character is fun to hold, or it's not going to be every character, but a majority of the character roster is fun to play, fun to hold, like it looks visually astounding. It shouldn't matter about the roster size in general, because at the end of the day, it's only going to get bigger. Because back in the day, when games like you had to get the next available game, which cost about the same to get more characters, now you're paying a fraction of what it costs. Yes, DLC is somewhat of a scummy practice, but in my opinion, I'd rather have DLC than try to buy a whole nother version of a game, because that's what I was doing back when I was younger, or that's what my parents were doing back when I was younger. When they wanted to get the updated games, they had to get the next available game, which cost them the same price, and inflation back then was hectic. So I think if I have to do a rough estimate, they'd probably pay about damn near $80 for a game. So, but with this, even with Dragon Ball FighterZ with, because the rumor is, I think not the rumor is like they're gonna have 8 DLC characters. That's gonna bring the roster size up to 31. So it shouldn't really matter about the size. And I know I'm not gonna sway a lot of people's opinions, because it is true that a character, like a game, needs to have a big roster in order for you to have variety. But at the same time, if the roster quality, it really makes up for the fact more people pretty much means the game's gonna be unbalanced. There's always going to be broken characters, but at least it'll be more balanced. It'll be more fun to play. And you have to kind of go past the roster size in order to truly enjoy the game. I mean, Dragon Ball's making up for the fact that it has a crazy story mode. It has that crazy arcade mode where you can take different paths and stuff. I mean, the game's just aesthetically fun. It's got the same network infrastructure as Guilty Gear, which is hopefully the online will be good. I never had a chance to play the game, unfortunately, because I wasn't one of those lucky ones that had the closed beta. And same thing with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Like, the game may not be to your taste, but it's fun as hell to play. And when I tell you that that's rare now, that a game that doesn't appeal to everybody but it's fun as hell to play, it is rare. Because the big thing about it is that coming from their last big project they did, Street Fighter Cross Tekken. Street Fighter Cross Tekken was everything I wanted because it was the Tekken characters finding Street Fighter characters, but it wasn't good. It wasn't fun. The gen system really broke, and by the time they fixed it, it was too late. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite has a fun structure. Like, it's stupid fun to play. If y'all guys see my live stream, that's me and my friends really enjoying the game. And this roster card, the way it's presented, and the roster quality really makes it fun because each character is unique. Some of them are still the same from Marvel vs. Capcom 3, but it doesn't matter. That just means it's fun. Like, literally, when I tell you me and my friends did not have this much fun with Marvel 3, despite it having a way bigger roster, it's because the game itself had broken mechanics that really took the fun out of it. I'm losing in this game and I'm having fun. It's annoying, but I'm having fun because the way the game plays. And it's like, it doesn't matter about the size of the roster. It will get bigger over time, guys. You just have to be patient with it. But this is Ep.2. I'm signing out. I hope you guys really got something out of this. I hope it doesn't sound like I'm just rumbling and trying to rant at y'all guys, because I really want you to enjoy these games despite the size and everything. And I will be getting Dragon Ball, and you best believe I will live stream it. Hopefully one day I will do an open lobby night with y'all just to play Dragon Ball with me and my friend Phoenix_23. But I hope you got something out of this. I hope you guys enjoyed the Online Warrior. Ep.50 out. Remember to like and subscribe for more. Follow my Instagram on Omega ROS. Not Ep.50 Gaming, and my Twitter Omega ROS. But guys, have a nice day. Enjoy the rest of your day. Ep.50 out.
No one can match my power.